Good evening, parents. Mrs. P here with another new video for the concepts we're learning in 6th grade mathematics today. Today we are talking about rates and unit rates. Now, I'm going to back up and be honest. Today we took a quiz in class and we went over our homework from yesterday. So we really didn't talk about rates and unit rates as it pertains to them bringing home homework. So there is no homework tonight, except I told them all they must watch this video. So I'm going to look for 50 plus views on this video tonight, parents. Let your child know that. And the reason I wanted to watch this video is because tomorrow in class, we're going to continue our discussion on rates and unit rates. We really have talked about them already in class, but we didn't do it as a lesson. We just discussed them as a class. And so we've discussed them in the sense that you as parents have used rates and unit rates, and they as grown adults someday in their life will use rates and unit rates. And I'm going to show you some examples of what we're going to talk about tomorrow and how in the near future they will be needing to use these in real life situations. So one that I love the most is a simple one that I use with the kids because I go to Colorado to visit my son a lot. He doesn't live in Steamboat, but he does live in Colorado. So if I wanted to go to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, it's about 720 miles to get to Steamboat Springs, and it takes me about 10 hours to get there. This is called a rate. It's a comparison of two measurements. To get to some place, how many miles does it take me, and how many hours does it take me? It's usually a comparison of measurements that involve some sort of time or money or distance. And so in this case, you can see I have distance and time that I'm trying to compare. And what I would typically do to the kids is say, here's the problem. What else can you tell me? If it takes 720 miles to get to Steamboat Springs, Colorado in 10 hours, what else could you figure out about my trip to Steamboat Springs, Colorado? And if I told you that this is the rate for me to get to Steamboat, they can usually tell me the unit rate, although they're not used to it being called unit rate. They just know how to solve the problem without knowing that they're solving a unit rate. So they'll look at it and say, well, the only other thing we could tell you is how many miles you go in an hour. That's exactly what I want them to tell me. That's a unit rate. A unit rate breaks the comparison down, breaks the comparison down to one unit. And so when you have a rate, you have to look at what would be the best unit to break down into one. Well, do you want to go down to 1 mile and figure out how many seconds it took you? Or do you want to break the hours down to 1 hour and find out how many miles it took you to get there in that 1 hour? So they will say, okay, Mrs. P, we can tell you how many miles you can go in 1 hour. This is your rate. We're going to break it down to 1 unit to 1 hour. And if you look at this, this now looks like our ratios and they look like our fractions using multiplication and division to solve for fractions, ratios, rates, and unit rates. So I would ask them, you said you could tell me how many miles I went in 1 hour. They know they're just going to divide. And 10 into 720. They can come over here and do this if they want. But you know what I'm going to say about that? Good number sense should tell you what this answer is without you having to do the long division process. They should be able to tell me 72 miles in every hour. That's taking a rate down to a unit rate. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess we do use those. I guess my parents would have used those. And I even gave them another example of this today. You throw them a birthday party and you theme it. We know how we love to do that when our kids are little. I did it for my own. I'm going to throw a Blues Clues party for my son. Blues Clues. Well, I'm going to go to Party City, USA. I want to get some cups. I see some cups that are in packages of 6 for $2.99, but they're just blue, just the color blue. And I see some cups that are in packages of 8 for $3.75, but they got Blues Clues on them. Well, of course, if you want to theme it, you'll just grab the Blues Clues cups. Or if you're like, I don't want to spend that much money, you're just going to grab the blue cups. So today we looked at these and the kids could see wait, we want to figure out what the best deal is. What's the best price? And I said, hey, figure it out for me if I told you 24 kids are coming to my party. Right away, the kids said, if these come in packages of 6 cups to a package, you need 4 packages. 6 times 4 is 24 kids. If you buy these ones, Mrs. P, you'd have to buy 3 packages. 8 times 3 is 24 kids. Then they could see, what would the total be? Well, I multiply this by 4. I multiply this by 4. And they figured out, I believe this was 1196. And this was 1125. And they could tell, oh my goodness. If my parents went into the store and they saw $2.99 and they just said, we're going to buy the cheapest cups for $2.99, you really wouldn't be buying the cheapest cups. You actually spent 71 more cents. If you would have went with the Blue's Clues cup, you would have saved money. And we could even figure out by a unit rate how much every cup cost. And I had kids who looked at this and said, well, that's $3. 6 cups at $3. That's about 50 cents a cup, Mrs. P. And then we even did this one. We figured it out through division. And they said, oh, it's about 40 cents. It was a little bit more than 40 cents, but we'll say about 40 cents a cup. That's a rate, breaking it down into a unit rate. And you use that all the time in your life. You go buy apples. 2 pounds cost you $6.98. I only want 1 pound of apples. How much am I going to pay for the 1 pound of apples? That is what a rate and unit rate is. So just using those examples of going on a trip, buying something for a party, shows you absolutely how important it is to know how to break something down from a rate to a unit rate mathematically using multiplication or division. We'll even do this part tomorrow. This is a little tougher than anything else than rates and unit rates. If you ever want to see if this can be a rate, it's like using equivalent ratios. You have a rate here of 26 to 13, and you want to see is it equivalent to a ratio of something over 4. Well, this will be tricky for the kids because they'll go, wait, I can't do anything to 13 that gets me to 4, and I can't do anything to 4 that will get me to 13. So they have to learn to break it down to build it up. Now that they can do. Can I break this ratio down? Yes, if I know good number sense. I know 13 will go into both of those. 13 will go into 26 twice. 13 will go into 13 once. I broke that down. Now I want to see if I can build it back up to this equivalent rate. So, how would I go from 1 to 4? Times 4. How could I get from 2 using 4? It would give me 8. So 26/13 is equivalent to 8/4 in a unit rate when you break it down and build it back up. But as I said, this part right here is a tricky part, and we'll discuss more of it tomorrow. But this right here, Steamboat Springs, buying some Blue's Clues cups, really show you how important rates and unit rates are and how valuable they are when you're using them. And believe me, you do use them, parents. Explain to your students how you do use them. Gallons of gas that you buy in your car. How many miles do you get to 1 gallon? That is all a rate and unit rate. Many things in our world require that kind of knowledge. So this is what we're going to go over tomorrow. They should watch it, and they're going to talk to me about it tomorrow. I will be checking it out. Parents, have a great night. Students, have a great night because you're supposed to be watching this. I will see you back tomorrow, and hopefully you're going to be able to tell me some information about rates and unit rates. Until then, I care about you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.